紧接着要进行我们的开放讨论时间，有请我们中央大学李晨代理校长上台，与我们的 Michael Crow 我们进行开放讨论。如果您对于今天的讲题想跟演讲者进行询问者，麻烦您举手，以便我们的工作人员将麦克风递给您。
Time for discussion. If you have any questions or ideas you would like to share with us, please raise your hand.
Question.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Guanghua Li. I'm the Dean of Academic Affairs at NCU. I have two questions. You said you eliminated about 69 departments and created many schools. My first question is, how do you decide which department should be eliminated? Okay.
So the way we dealt with changes was if units were weak, then we said to them, you can't go on like this. You just can't go on being weak. You need to find a new configuration. If units were connected to other units but had artificial barriers between them, let's say like geology and astronomy. So we had geologists and astronomers that were in separate units that could have been leveraging their ability to come together. We asked them to come together. So we created design opportunities that were around sort of an analysis of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we did an analysis across our units, and then we're able to create an opportunity where, for various reasons, we then asked people to ask the faculty to take an opportunity to redesign themselves. We said, you could, of course, decide not to redesign yourself, but then we'll redesign it for you. And so most people didn't choose that. So we went to them for various reasons and incentivized them by suggesting that we would invest in the new design, new facilities, new faculty lines, new resources. And so in the School of Life Sciences, for instance, 3 weak biology departments that were historical, that were underperforming, we said, well, go back to a clean slate and then think about what you wish you could be, not what you are, what you wish you could be. Design that. Come back to that. Come back to us with that. If it looks good, then we will invest in that. We will hire more faculty. So they came back. They had a brilliant design, the faculty. They said that they wanted to not have any faculties. They wanted the faculty to reassemble on its own, no departments. They wanted to flow with the changes in the life sciences, not held in rigid departments that were, after 20 years, meaningless anyway. And they wanted non-scientists in their department. They wanted philosophers and policy analysts, so we said yes, yes, yes. They wanted new facilities, we said yes. And so that's the methodological approach that we used.
Okay. It must be very difficult. Okay. My second question is that you say you created many schools. I would like to know, how do we reform the course structure?
The cost structure?
Course.
Oh, yeah. The courses. So what we did was we decided to speed up our clock. So anything that took more than a few weeks to decide wasn't worth deciding. And so we were able to speed up the clock by which the faculty would become engaged in re-engineering the course structures, redesigning the course structures, realigning them. That doesn't happen immediately, but it happens over time. And so we did that. We changed the unit that we call a semester. We did away with the normal semester. We now have 3 units of time for each semester, fall, spring, and summer. So we changed time. We changed the clock speed within the institution itself. So we're innovating at every dimension. We're innovating relative to time. We're innovating relative to structure. We're innovating relative to compensation for the faculty, everything. And so you can't approach it one little piece at a time. You have to approach it with all these things together. And yes, you said it was difficult. Yes, exceedingly difficult.
Okay, thank you.
那现场还有任何同学、同仁以及师长们有任何问题需要提出吗？那今天的 Q&A 到这边，我们
我可以提一个。
OK， 我们的林文琪副院长有问题需要提问。
Yeah. Could I ask a question? You said that the university growth has grown like up
25,000.
Yeah, and
It's grown by 25,000 students since 2003.
and the faculty remains
Yes,
relatively the
I
same.
thought that might get some people's attention, yes.
Yeah,
So
but-
the way that we were able to deal with that was expanding the workload of the faculty, changing the compensation of the faculty higher, enhancing the faculty with people that could empower the faculty, investing millions and millions and millions of dollars in technology to enhance the faculty's ability to teach certain kinds of courses, like freshman math and other courses. We found new ways to teach freshman math using computational devices and computational engines that gave us dramatically enhanced outcomes from the math training at a dramatically lower cost. So I'm talking a 50% reduction in cost. That then allows us to compensate faculty members more, buy more, or hire more assistants for the faculty, those kinds of things.
And can you also talk about the university's budget structure? Like how much did you get from the state?
So the budget structure of the university right now, our budget is about 60 billion Taiwan dollars per year. And the state's contribution to that is 12%. And 88% of the revenue is generated by other means.
That's very impressive. And how about the state's control? Like how much does the state has to say in the university's development?
So one of the things that we've been able to do in Arizona, which is an area of the United States, I don't know, there might be a couple Americans in here. Anybody that's an American in here or been to live one couple? Well, Arizona is like the Wild West, so it's like the frontier. And so what that means then is that the government there is really, really small, almost so small you can't see it. We are allowed to act and behave and have driven this model of entrepreneurial behavior. So the state expects from us, our relationship with the state is the following. They have said to us that they would like us to produce 25,000 world-class college graduates per year. We produce 18 right now. When I took office, we produced 10,000 per year. So we've increased in 10 years by 8,000 graduates a year. And then they've also said, please take your research to $700 million a year. So what we receive from the state are goals that they'd like us to achieve. We receive from them a small amount of investment and a pat on the back that says, good luck. And that actually empowers us greatly to advance in ways in which the state, beyond that, the state has very little input. There's no ministers, there's no deputy ministers, no sub-ministers. There's none of that. Sorry if there's any ministers here. And so there's none of that. And so what we are driven by, we're driven by management by objective, and we're allowed to be as entrepreneurial as we can be. So that means, for instance, in the last 10 years, we have built 90 billion Taiwan dollars of facilities. No, take that back. Yeah, 90. 3 times 30, right, 90. 90 billion. The state has invested in less than 10% of those. The rest were either invested in by the university itself, based on our anticipated performance, or by partnerships that we did with the private sector. And so that kind of methodological approach that we have allows us to move in different ways. And so the state is an investor in the university with an expectation of outcomes, but it's not a controller of the university.
各位同学，你们可以问问题，可以用中文问，那个林教授会帮你们翻译。
And I can also answer any question you might
In
mention
Chinese.
about the U.S. if they're interested more broadly than just about ASU.
Yes.
Way in the back.
In the back, yeah.
Yes, so just mention anything about the U.S. also.
Excuse me, Mr. Crow. My question is, I just noticed that the figure there, that's the student number now. You have 73,000 now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And also mention that that you have online education and also distance students.
Yes.
I'd like to know that the ratio of this among your total students. For example, that like maybe 20% of your student is belong to this or others.
Right. So we operate the university in two modes. We operate in one mode that we call immersion or face-to-face. And so that would be like this campus here where students come, they meet with faculty members, they work face-to-face. Within that environment, we have 16,000 individual courses that we offer across almost 300 majors within the institution. Many of those courses are enhanced by technology. Some of those courses are offered online. 9,000 of the courses have technological assistance making the courses work. And then in addition to that, call that student group A. There's another group of students that are online only, and that's about 7,000 students, so it's not that many. We're hoping to grow that to 100,000, but that will take time. And so that online group is online courses only. And so we don't have 300 degree programs like we do face-to-face. We have about 40 that are online only. So that's the way that it's set up.
So how is students learning results?
So the learning outcomes from the online, we measure learning outcomes across all students, and learning outcomes by online students who are older and more mature in general. They're generally not the same age as our immersion students. The learning outcomes are excellent. Now, we don't offer every subject. So we don't offer electrical engineering, but we do offer political science. And so there are some subjects not conducive to online learning, and some subjects that are.
Okay. Is this a kind of very effective way, a very useful way for the students, like in Taiwan, we learn the courses from ASU?
Well, it might be a way. The online programs that we have are intended for students that are what's called place-bound. They're in a place they can't come to the university, or they're time-bound. They're married and they have families and they can't come to the university because they're older.
And how about the tuition? The tuition compared to the regular students go to your school, is it much cheaper or?
Some programs are much cheaper. Some programs like EMBA are very expensive. So,
okay, thank you.
It depends on the market.
Okay, thank you.
那现场还有一位需要做提问者。
This is Li Heqing from National Central University. It's a very impressive lecture, and I'm more curious to learn more about you just said something about new professors and new learners, and how your professors are regularly reviewed. What are the review mechanism when you say good professor versus not too good professors? And
So
what kind of review mechanisms that you have now?
Right. So we review professors at the end of their first year of appointment, at the end of their third year of appointment. We review them prior to their tenure review. That we allow tenure review to occur whenever they feel that they are ready. We don't have a regular clock, and we also don't have a regular process. You can just submit whenever you think that you're ready, or whenever your department thinks that you're ready. Once you have tenure, you are subject to what's called post-tenure review. Post-tenure review means you are underperforming. You have an opportunity to resign at that point if you feel that if you don't really want to improve your performance, or somehow you don't believe that you're underperforming. If you do become subject to the review and you don't resign at post-tenure review, then you have a contract for the changing of your performance subject to an annual review until your performance is back on track, or you are fired.
Okay, back to what you have said, that only 12% of your school budget comes from the state funds.
Right.
So in this sense, in Taiwan, that I think all publicly funded universities, I mean the national universities, are almost 100% funded by the Ministry of Education. So in this sense, you are a private university in Taiwan.
Well,
probably, and consequently, you have a freer hand in managing. So that's why you're proposing like knowledge-based entrepreneur spirits and all that. But here, if we do have a Ministry of Education governing or managing a lot of educational affairs, what would be your suggestions to quote unquote deregulate? Thank you.
So I don't know enough about the details of the ministry's objectives or so forth, but so I don't know that. But I guess that my general input or general advice would be that one should seek differentiation among and between the universities, including their operating modalities, that is, their operating methodologies, and that from there, universities could be compared based on their output and their performance, and their output and performance then could be a mechanism by which government investment is made. Or another methodology, one of the things that we've done in Arizona is we have, to the extent that the government does make an investment in us, they used to make an investment based on students, how many students you had. We asked them to stop investing in the number of students and start investing in our performance. And so the notion of changing the model by which the universities are ultimately funded can then help to facilitate some of the universities to be more or less entrepreneurial. And so I guess that I don't know enough about the Taiwanese funding model or the Taiwanese funding situation to give specific input or advice, nor would it necessarily be my place to do that. But what I can say is that if one wants to have an enhanced performance of one's economy in a particular region, one has to make certain that all elements of the knowledge enterprise in that economy, including the universities, including the institutes, including the laboratories, must be capable of being as entrepreneurial themselves as possible. So if you want to build an economy around entrepreneurism, then you have to make certain that the institutions are capable of being entrepreneurial. And it is probably the case that institutions funded completely by the government have less opportunity to be as entrepreneurial as they might be. So one needs to try to find ways to drive entrepreneurism within that funding model. So I'd have to think a little bit more about that.
那谢谢各位的提问。由于时间有限，我们的现场提问时间就到这里结束。那我们也请最后，请我们大家最敬爱的刘兆汉刘院士为我们进行个小结。有请刘院士。
我想今天大家听到这个 Crow 校长跟各位介绍一下他过去10年在 Arizona State 他的经验，我想在座的老师、校长跟学生应该印象非常深刻。他的做法跟他的 这个新的一种想法，其实在美国高等教育界已经起了相当大的回响。我想从我们台湾高等教育的角度来看，他今天讲的一些想法跟做法，非常值得我们参考。我们也非常谢谢今天在座的同学跟老师，一起来参加今天的余纪忠讲座。我们基金会非常感谢大家，谢谢大家。
让我们再次用最热烈的掌声，谢谢本日的演讲者，以及我们的刘兆汉院士，还有林温琪副院长，让我们掌声谢谢他们。最后，